And he kind of chuckled. So went to the job, went over the books, learned how to do business with the state myself, learned the apparatus, learned where all the procurement agencies were. Many were out in these prisons and state hospitals and places. There were things like you could do a phone quote and you can call 3 particular businesses. So if you do that phone quote and call 3 minority businesses, guess what? You're going to have some minority business winning, right? So professional services wasn't a low bid situation. You gave it to whoever you wanted to give it to. This is why attorneys and doctors and such spend money on campaign contributions, because they're anointed with these contracts. So I looked at all this and I said, Governor, I need a letter from you to every agency head endorsing my position and telling them to work with my office. And he did it. That's about the last thing I could get from him. But with that, I went to every agency head, had an appointment, presented the letter, showed my credentials, showed the authority, and said I will be reporting on your progress quarterly to the governor and to the Legislative Black Caucus and to the whole legislature on what you're doing. Then I went and identified the top 100 minority businesses in the state of Indiana. Went up to Fort Wayne, went to Gary, had workshops, went to Evansville, went all over the place and got these 100 people and told them every third Thursday we're going to have a strategy session in my office. Come there with your pencils and we're going to show what the bids were going to be the next month and how to attack it and how to approach it. Had the National Medical Association chapter of Indiana. I said, give me the doctors who want to work in our prisons, who want to work in our state hospitals. And I would look at those professional service contracts, and every third contract was going to go to one of them. It was anointed. So I got the director of procurement. Here are the doctors, work them, rotate them. Here are the dentists, work them. Here are the psychiatrists. It was beautiful. Here are the accountants. Here are the attorneys. There wasn't one attorney in the state of Indiana that was in the red book. Being in the red book means that you could underwrite bonds. You could work the bond market, which is given away for the football stadiums, for the schools and such. Lucrative contracts, money up front. We got 3 of the major law firms to mentor 3 black law firms. And the catch was, you can get in the red book if you have bond experience, but you can't get in the red book until you do a bond, but you can't do a bond until you're in the red book. So that's how we did it. We got them to work, bond work, through the Mentor Protege program, and 3 black law firms got into the red book and made oodles of money. But consequently, in the first 18 months, the state was actually doing about 0.5% because a lot of numbers were fraudulent. And in the first 18 months, we got them up to about 6.5%. We're making black millionaires. And they started being afraid of me. Harry Alford became one of the most popular persons in the state of Indiana because he was opening up the doors. And I've asked again and again, are you going to run for some kind of office? I said, don't worry. But that didn't work. He had state police following me around. I got audited by the IRS like I never heard before. They went back 10 years on me. Little did I know they can't do that unless they had some reason to. All sort of things that was making my life uncomfortable. I even had a couple of people following my boys to school, which really hurt me. But I knew that what I was doing was God's work. And I knew that in order to survive, before they catch me tripping up someplace, that I had to work it from the outside. And I started looking at models. I went to Chicago. I went to Cleveland. I went to other cities to see what was going on. And the only thing that was really happening was this group called the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. At the time, Indianapolis had 2,000 Hispanics living in the city of almost 1 million people. They had 25 businesses, and they had the Indianapolis Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it had juice. They go see the governor, they go see the mayor, they go see the city council. 25 businesses. So I'm saying if this city has 230,000 black folks, why don't we have a business association? So I went back to those businesses who are now doing business at the state of Indiana. I said, look, I got a concept. I want to start an Indiana Black Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to do it stealth-wise. We're going to call it the Hoosier Minority Chamber of Commerce. But it's basically black. And I said, I'm going to do a kickoff on such and such date, and I want you guys to bring some checks. You support me for a year, I'll turn this state around, particularly Indianapolis. We got 600 members in the first 4 days. Instantly became the largest black business association in the Midwest. And then we started looking at the Christmas list. United Airlines is putting $1 billion maintenance hub at the airport. The state was building all of these new prisons. The state office building, $1 billion project downtown. No participation, nothing but fraud, and we went after him. Now, the governor told me he couldn't do all this because he was going to get sued for reverse discrimination. So my parting words to the governor was, I think you're going to get sued for straight-out discrimination. And we filed a lawsuit. And Jesse Jackson came down and kicked it off with us, held a press conference with us. And the governor hates me still today. He sent her by, doesn't speak to me. We were at an event about 6 months ago, and my boys play lacrosse. Played pretty good. And they played at University of Maryland on scholarship. My little Harry's All-American goalie. And they went to the Final Four 2 years in a row. Anyway. Hey, man, I'm proud. But anyway, Evan By, he hadn't said a word to me at this function, this DNC function. And his sons now go to St. Albans, which is where my boys went to school. And they have a plaque of little Harry's name on the wall there as you enter into the school. That's where they put all of their high school All-Americans. So he looks at me. I said, oh, he's going to speak. He said, is that your son up there on the wall at St. Albans? I said, yes, it is. And I said, next year they're going to put his brother right next to him. And that's all he said. Turned and went away. But anyway, we changed Indianapolis around. There wasn't one construction company in Indianapolis that could bond $1 million when we formed the chamber. Today, they're doing about $1 billion in work in metropolitan Indianapolis, black contractors. The bonding companies were persuaded to come in and review and analyze them. We told United Airlines and Indianapolis Airport 15% of everything that goes on at that airport is going to the local black community of Indianapolis, from the cabs to the construction managers and architects. And we did it through a cooperation of 50 black churches that we were going to shut down. Little did I know I was going to end up in jail trying to do it, but we were going to shut down the Indianapolis airport. But we had 50 black churches put up 50 men each, and we got a demonstration permit, and we're going to go out there in front of the airport, have people sit at the payphones, which they were using at that time, have people go to every toilet and sit down and read a book and do a book report, and hand out leaflets as people came from the gates. Welcome to the last plantation in the United States. And we got the papers printed up, and I leaked out what we were going to do. And the mayor of Indianapolis called me at 5:30 in the morning, Mayor Stephen Goldsmith. He said, Harry, be in my office at 7. We got to end this mess. So I called Bill Crawford, State Representative Bill Crawford, and Reverend Jeter, and got their permission to go see the mayor. And got into the room, and there was the chief of staff for the governor there, Vice President of United Airlines, a few other people there. And Mayor Goldsmith says, Harry, what do you want at the airport? I said, I want 15% of everything, which, by the way, your predecessor had signed and agreed to. He says, is that it? I said, that's it. And he looked at United Airlines. That's it. No problem? No problem. And there it was. All of a sudden, our members, by the way, who were told that if you belonged to the Hoosier Minority Chamber of Commerce, you couldn't get $1 of work at the airport. All of a sudden, they were called up and getting $8 million, $5 million packages all of a sudden. We're best of friends. Success story. The state office building, we got a commitment from the governor's office there. We made peace there. We rescinded the suit. We started getting real business. All of a sudden, Indianapolis Public Schools building 14 new schools. We got all 14 of the schools. And Cheryl Gilbert, who was superintendent at the time, got up before the school board and said, I reviewed it. This system has been in existence for 85 years and has never used a black architect or a black construction manager. So I'm going to play catch up. All 14 architects, all 14 architectural contracts, all 14 construction management contracts are going to go to black businesses of Indianapolis. Gavel hit. We changed that city around, man. People started working. People started flowing. And then what happened, people started coming from the outside